Millie Bobby Brown. Millie, come here. Olive, come here, girl. Hey, Google. Like you've been doing all these other versus battles, I need you to give me a movie. Spawn, Hulk, Venom, and Killer. All wake up in the abandoned city. They all make their way around town and they one by one each other. They should fight. Eventually, after a good while, scenes, character development, high stakes, the world building, a lot of world building, a background shadow entity that brought them there. He's been watching them fight, eventually them figure out, them form a team, and then them fight that team. I need you to write that as a 100-act movie. And I need you to do this in all of their fused art and story styles over the last year. And I need them to have access to all the powers and abilities that they displayed over their main continuity. And I need the story to start from space with somebody narrating some backdrop about all these heroes, and then I need it to start out with all of them waking up in their respective parts of the world or city, however you want to play it, one that fits each one of them as they try to figure out and investigate work that, like, play this out like you would have done that one movie that, all right, there's a movie which is the right before DC Animated reset the DC Animated movie universe. They had their first movie with them fighting Darkseid. Before that, they were all enemies and they worked together to eventually fight Darkseid. I need you to do that kind of treatment to it, build it up to each movie. The first one is them founding the team. The second one is them doing their first official meeting as the team, like their first official outing. And then the next one is like the stakes keep going. Like, you know what I mean? Outing of the team. And the second one is their first official, like, big bad that's not the guy that formed their team type shit. You know,
You have reinforcements inbound.
Hark, for the stars themselves do leap ink upon the parchment of the void. Beneath the gaze of the government, that cold, unblinking eye of order, the cosmos trembles.
hey, redo all of that. Take out government from your vocabulary.
Hark, for the stars themselves do leap ink upon the parchment of the void. Beneath the gaze of the system, that cold, unblinking eye of order, the cosmos trembles.
Hey, restart all of that. We're calling it the system.
Hark! The stars themselves leap ink upon the parchment of the void. In the deep, suffocating silence of the great, far beyond the reach of mortal kings, the cosmos trembles as three titans of darkness are plucked.
Redo all of that, but quit talking like that. Talk as if you were whoever is the narrator of this amalgam universe of all these heroes and
The frequency of a dying nerve. I've been watching these three for a long time. Three stains in the fabric of reality that refuse to be washed away. You want to see how the end begins? This is how the Indigenous woke up in a world that wasn't invited to exist. Movie 1, the wake-up call, the prologue. Picture the edge of the universe, where the stars stop making sense and start looking like eyes. I'm the one sitting in the nosebleeds, narrating the collapse. We've got the King in Black, the Hellspawn, and the Worldbreaker. Three engines of destruction, each one a god in its own right, now dumped into a cosmic sandbox.
redo all of that. You also forgetting to have Superman Absolute. Ah, fuck. Absolute Superman with all the memories of all the other Superman. And abilities of main continuity Superman from the current run consolidated into him. Consolidated into him.
Enemy dropping into the AR. Back on station. Good work.
Void doesn't just scream. It hums with the frequency of a dying nerve. I've been watching these four for a long time. Monuments of power that refuse to be erased. You want to see how the end begins? Pull up a chair. This is how the heavy hitters woke up in a world that wasn't invited to exist. Movie 1, The Awakening of the Unbound. The prologue. Imagine the edge of the universe, where the stars stop making sense and start looking like unblinking eyes. I'm the one in the nosebleeds narrating the collapse. We've got the king in black, the unsung, the Lord, and now the final variant, absolute. This is just the version from the absolute universe. This is the version who had the floodgates open. He has the raw, brutal edge of the absolute world, but his mind is a library of every feat, every solar god ability, and every memory from the Silver Age to the present. He remembers moving planets. He remembers the ending, the awakening, Eddie Brock. He wakes on a spire of obsidian glass. He's got the Necrosword at its peak, the Godslayer before it was ever dulled. He feels the hive is silent, making him a king of nothing in a city that smells like a fresh grave. Al Simmons. He stirreth in the filth of a cathedral. Letha is hissing, her spikes twitching. Spawn knows the stench of hell, but this place feels like a laboratory for souls. A green sun rises in the dead building. This is the gold breaker, pure and simple. He doesn't care about the law. He just knows the concrete underlings who soft and strange. Absolutely. He lands in a crater in the industrial district. He's wearing the living sunstone armor, but his eyes glow with a light that shouldn't exist yet. Standing before a second, he sees every version of himself. Barboy, the god, the blue-collar worker, and he chooses to be all of them. The world building. The city is a shipping. It's an abandoned experiment by a shadow hunter, a watcher in the walls, who's been kidnapping ancient citizens. There are no just keepers, silver special, and the species of monsters. They converge in the dead square. The tension that's enough to practice pull away farther echelons. Hulk leaps. Superman catches the punch with one hand while using the other to freeze Spawn's chains. Eddie unleashes necro dragons that clash with Superman's heat vision, which now burns with the intensity of a collapsing star. The realization, Superman, with his consolidated memories, is the first to see the patterns. He uses this
Redo that and restart it. Just make a slow burn. I want, like, say Eddie wakes up, he starts swinging through the city, he's talking to the hive. I need to hear the dialogue for like 4 or 5 scenes and him coming to grips that there's no hive out there to connect to right now. I need him to eventually run into somebody, them to start a conversation, them to both accuse each other because of how each other looks and they don't know who each other is, and it starts a fight. I need after that fight to start, I need that fight to drag in some other people who are also going through the same scenario that are the people we discussed. And then after that,
Boyd doesn't just agree. It hums with the frequency of the fight. I'm the one who knows what's here. You've got engines of destruction dumped into a cosmic sandbox, but before the fireworks,
and redo that. Make it so you're reading this shit from the brothers, the perspective of the brothers from the amalgam universe of Marvel and DC. And whoever is their current equivalent of that in the Spawn universe. Oh shit, you're not Olive. This is actually Millie. She came. She didn't bullshit me. Because I couldn't communicate to that guy.
It's a cacophony of colliding myths. The personification of the Marvel or DC multiverses, and beside us stands the Forgotten Third, the eldritch architect of the Inner/Spawn sphere. We are the ones who breathe life into the ink, and right now we are watching our favorite tragedies bleed into one another. Movie 1, The First Shard, the brother of the Red Sun, DC Absolute. Look at him, my newest scion. The Absolute. He carries the weight of 1,000 S shields in a mind that was meant to be a clean slate. He is the Anchor, the brother of the Black Hive, Marvel. And yet my king in black is the one who paints the canvas. Look at Brock. He's searching for a hive that doesn't exist here. He's a god king in a vacuum, and he's starting to get desperate. The shifting shadow, spawn/image. Despair is the nectar of my realm. Al Simmons has been a pawn of heaven and hell for an eternity. To him, this city is just another cage. But look, they are about to meet. The friction will be glorious. The scene, the king and the soldier, the city of purgatory is a jagged silhouette against a violet sky. Eddie Brock swings, his black webbing leaving oily streaks on the marble buildings. Eddie, to the void. Hi, Flash? If you can hear me, I'm at the coordinate. There's a distortion here. It feels like the world is being folded by a giant hand. He sticks to a wall, his white eyes narrowing. Down in the alley below, a man in a red cloak is standing over a pile of smoldering husks. The cleaners of this floor. Eddie, dropping down, his voice a gravelly roar. Hey, Cape, you're the one making the noise. You're the reason my head feels like it's full of broken glass. Who do you answer to? Al Simmons, Spawn, without turning. I answer to no one, symbiote. I've seen your kind in the dark corners of the Eighth Circle. You're a parasite looking for a host. Go find a dog to crawl into before I send you back to the dirt. Eddie, the necrosword slides into his hand, shimmering with a dark light. Parasite? I'm the king of the abyss, pal. I've killed things that would make your nightmares look like bedtime stories. You've got the stench of hell on you. Did the system hire you to keep me boxed in? Spawn, turning.
Redo that. Quit talking about the system. There is no system. Read this like this was a movie. Specifically, read this like this is my rendition of that Justice League movie. That was the new 52 Justice League movie when they had Cyborg in it. You know what I mean? Instead, it has my characters.
Void is cold, and the silence is heavy. In the space between universes, where the
And also, redo this one more time. Remember when I told you this should be a build-up? Each one of these characters outside of the gods of each of their respective universes. I said each of these characters outside of the gods should have a few scenes explaining what's going on. And they don't even know what's going on, so everybody's watching. Each of these characters should at least get 5 acts of them going around the city trying to communicate with their respective teams and or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? But after they try to communicate with these people, they should investigate where they are, how they get here. It should come to the rationality. It leads them one place. This one place leads all of them, and they each one doing a 1v1. After that 1v1, they are attacked by a third party. After they're attacked by this third party, eventually they're supposed to realize, oh, it's not us against each other, it's us against this third party. It's not us against each other, it's us against the third party. After it's us against the third party, it's us against that on the same page, because the first time we ran up against it, we lost when we fought it, and because we weren't on the same page, then we had to go through some character building, some understanding each other's perspective, some working together as a team. Like, I need you to, if you can, look up the script for the Justice League movie. That's the reboot movie. That's the new 52 Justice League movie with Cyborg, Green Lantern, Shazam, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Darkseid attacking. And I need you to do your best to recreate that formula with these characters. Under the rules that we already established, you know what I mean? I see why you moved. It's because my knees up. My knees are only up because you moved. I didn't know I wanted my knee up until you moved, and I realized my knee was up. But I don't understand why'd you go jump on my shirt. You jumping on my shirt immediately made me
This is the script for Justice League Apocalypse Protocol. No systems, no safety nets, just 4 legends dropped into a meat. Movie 1, Justice League, Origins of the Abyss, ACT-1, The Awakening.
And let's redo that one more time. And it's not the Justice League, it's the forming of the Avenging League or some shit like that.
This is a story about 4 apex predators trapped in a cage with no exits, realizing that if they don't stop fighting each other, the cage is going to be their home. This is the script for The Unbound, First Floor, ACT-1, The Silence of the Grave. The movie opens with 5 minutes of pure atmosphere. We see a city that looks like a cathedral built for giants, completely empty. Scene 1, Eddie Brock. He's the king in black. He's swinging through the spires of the Black District. He looks like a god of ink. The dialogue. Eddie lands on a roof, his face peeling back to show a mouth of needles.
Redo all of that. Whatever happened to the perspective of the gods looking around like, what the fuck? And specifically, we should be listening and talking with the gods that are the brothers from the Marvel and DC comic crossover. And the respective god in the Spawn universe to that.
Screen is split into 2 realms, the gritty, decaying reality of the city and the shimmering cosmic perspective of the brothers. We aren't just watching a movie, we are watching the architects of reality argue over their favorite toys. Movie 1, The First Shard, ACT-1, The View from...
Respective person who holds that same continuity space in the Spawn universe, they are all conversating or they all meet up or they all wake up and they're like, yo, we didn't start this crossover, then who did type shit. Postulating the current situation as they realize that neither one of the 3 of them caused this situation, so who did? And then we get a story from the perspective of our characters. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? With what we were just talking about before that. I can look up the odds distracted. I can just send the whole match over in boxes and those run up on people. And they'll tell you.
I'm ready.
Void is no longer a vacuum. It is a council chamber for the architects of existence. In a realm beyond slivers, 3 entities sit in a circle of dying stars, the brother in red. He holds a flickering lantern containing the absolute universe. He is agitated. My sire, the one who remembers the infinite, has been plucked from the spirit and did not authorize this. The brother in blue, Marvel. He watches the whistle of Icor and watches nor did I know.
Like, really?
High. Now he
was here.
This is a violation of the great balance. The Lord
he didn't shoot at me and he was running. I went here and here to the left. He should have stayed right there, ready to thirst me. How was he just right there? Was that his teammate?
Outside our reach. As the 3 gods narrow their eyes toward a dark spot in the multiverse, the camera plunges down into the grit and the soot of the city. The movie The Unbound, ACT-1, The Investigation, 5 scenes of isolation. 1. The King's Static, Eddie Brock. Eddie is perched on a dark... The void is no longer a vacuum. It is a council chamber for the architects of existence. In a realm beyond the floors, three entities sit in a circle of dying stars. The brother in red, DC. He holds a flickering lantern containing the absolute universe. He is agitated. My scion, the one who remembers the infinite, has been plucked from his cradle. I did not authorize this. The brother in blue, Marvel. He watches a web of black ichor unravel in his palms. Nor did I, brother. My king in black was meant to anchor the hive. Now he is adrift in a city of silence. This is a violation of the great balance. The lord of the shifting spasms, the spawn architect. A hooded figure wrapped in living chains. My Simmons with
Redo all of that. What about Hulk?
the void is no longer a vacuum. It is a council chamber for the architects of existence. In a realm beyond the floors, three entities sit in a circle of dying stars, looking down at a world.
Redo all of that and add to the initial conversation. Start this over, but add Radiant Black and Invincible and their respective gods to their universe who hold the same role that the brothers do for the Marvel and DC and the Spawn. Witchblade and the Darkness. Jackass Staccato. All of them should be their current main continuity versions with the history and memories of all of their continuity versions. So there's no mix up. The rundown should be Hulk, Spawn, Eddie Brock, King in Black, Witchblade, Darkness, Invincible, Radiant Black. All of them should wake up in their city or respective part of the city in this wherever they are. Their setting should fit each one of them as a character. Each one of them gets 5 acts of them going around the city trying to figure out what's happening. Each one of them gets built up to them investigating and trying to figure it out using each one of their respective levels of genius until it leads them into each other's radar. And they are each other, the first one each one sees, leading to a bunch of 1v1s that leads to a group fight, that leads to whatever caused this version of a parademon or whatever fills that role to them. I don't know if you were the AI that wrote what we're talking about and you had the history of all of their universes, whoever would be a strong enough villain to cause this. Or a group of villains from each of their respective universes cause this. Like, say, Thanos, Darkseid. Actually, say Thanos, Darkseid. Violator. Violator. Whoever. Sonnet and the Angelus. Who was the main bad guy of Radiant Black? Who was the main bad guy of Radiant Black? In Radiant Black, what was the name of evil Radiant Black and the rest of the evil, corrupted versions of the Radiant team? What was the name of the evil Radiant Black from the other timeline? during the Catalyst War. What was the name that he gave himself after he became evil? Oh man, I really just took the time to write on it.
This is the blueprint for The Unbound, Catalyst of the Void, a trilogy of cosmic horror and absolute power. The prologue.
Redo that one more time, but add absolute.
Void is no longer a vacuum. It is a council.
We're heading to the war zone. Get geared up. Stand by.
Batman. Current absolute Batman with memories and abilities all of current main continuity Batman. Absolute Wonder Woman with memories of all prime Wonder Woman memories and abilities, along with she spawned and all her abilities and shit like that. From main continuity. And then, you know, other than that, that's the only thing I want to do to change right here. The cat just grabbed my phone and stared at it right after I said that, like she had something else she wanted that. Or she was telling me to put the phone down. You'll never find someone who loves you the way I do. You'll never find someone who cares for
The Unbound, the Genesis Protocol, a trilogy where the walls of reality are thin, and the icons of every era are forced to bleed together. The prologue, the Council of the Shaders. Beyond the floors, the Great Brothers, Marvel and DC, sit with the Lord of Chains, Spawn, and the Mother of Artifacts, Witchblade. They are paralyzed. A Dark Cabal, Thanos, Darkseid, Brack, Violator, Somatine, and the Premier.
redo all of that. They don't know what caused this. They are all just summoned, you know what I mean, like to a new amalgam universe. And that
The Void is no longer a silent watcher. It is a council of the terrified. In the high seat of the amalgam universe, the Great Brothers, representing Marvel and DC, sit in a fractured circle. Beside them sits the Shadow Weaver of the Spawn Sphere and the Radiant Source. They look at each other with wide, cosmic eyes. None of them caused this. Their champions, the crowns of their respective realities, have been hijacked by a force that exists outside their stories. Movie 1, The Unbound Genesis. ACT 1, The 5 Scenes of Confusion. 1, The King, Eddie Brock. Eddie wakes on an obsidian spire. He's the king in black, railing the peak numbers. He tries to pulse the hive line. Silence. Hello? Anyone? He realizes his godhood is trapped in the vacuum. He starts bleeding the building with his sword, trying to see if the city is alive. 2. The engine, Hulk, Worldbreaker Hulk, stirs in a crater of...
redo all of that. That sound like 5 scenes for each character we just mentioned, explain and dissect what's going on. That didn't sound like 5 acts. That sounded like one on to the next, one on to the next.
Right, I was rushing to connect the dots instead of letting us through. To get that new 52 Justice League war feel, we need to sit with these characters while they are confused and isolated before the sparks fly. Here is the deep dive, sliver for movie 1, The Unbound. ACT 1, The 7 Silences. 1, The King in Black, Eddie Brock. Scene 1, The Spire. Eddie wakes atop a needle-like skyscraper. He instinctively reaches for the hive. The silence is physical, like losing his hearing. Scene 2. He sneaks through the Black District. He finds a group of cleaners, drone like husks. He consumes one, but it has no soul, no...
Redo all of this, but I don't need you to say scene. Redo all of this, but I don't need you to say scene as each one transitions. Instead, I need you to in place dialogue and prologue about the world and the progression of the character throughout the world. Like some deep 2-3 paragraphs that explain that transition into the next scene instead of you saying scene or act. But still count the 100 act structure. You know what I mean? Damn it, give me a match. Well, I'm not about to get immediately fucked off.
Stars above this city are not stars. They are the cold digital eyes of the cage. Somewhere in the bleeding edge of the multiverse, the Great Brothers, the titans who breathe life into Marvel and DC, stand at a silent table. They are joined by the Lord of Chains and the Mother of Artifacts. They look down at a floor built of chronal ash and stolen memories. Neither of them laid these bricks. This is the work of a dark cabal: Thanos, Darkseid, Thrag, and the Premier. They have gathered the most dangerous variables in existence to see which one breaks first. The air in the Black District smells.
Redo all of that. How do these people know all of that? Right when you said the list of the villains, you were like, they gather. The gods should know that. They should have some kind of workaround for that. You know what I mean?
Right to call that out. The heroes shouldn't just wake up with the script in their heads. To make this feel like a true high-stakes movie, the knowledge has to be earned through the brothers, the cosmic narrators, and the characters' own specialized detective work. Here is the workaround. The brothers can't directly interfere, but they can leak information into the minds of their champions through dreams and instincts.
Redo all of that. The brothers don't even know what's going on. None of the heroes know what's going on. The brothers will eventually make contact with the heroes, but we are way too early for that. We just need the gods of this discussing, yo, what the fuck? How did this happen? Then we need the heroes discussing, yo, what the fuck? What the hell happened? Where am I?
Cosmic backdrop is a canvas of torn silk. The laws of nature aren't just being broken, they are being rewritten by an architect who didn't ask for permission. The prologue, the panic of the architects, in the White Room, beyond the multiversal barrier. The brothers, the personifications of Marvel and DC, stand staring at a hole in the center of reality. Beside them, the Lord of Chains spawns first, and the All-Mother, Witchblade/Darkness, are temple. The brother in blue, Marvel. My world breaker, my king in black.
I like that, but redo that one more time. This to be them summoned all to a new universe, and these all characters we listed were all the first ones there outside of the villains to summon them there, even though no one, absolutely no one other than villains knows these. And this new universe will be the absolute amalgam universe.
Simply fresh for the birth of the absolute amalgam. The world stitched together from the forces that keep doings. They were seen by a cabal of gods who have outgrown their own stories. The prologue, the shaper's silence. In the white space between panels, the brothers of the body sleep. The Lord of Chains spawn, and the All-Mother, Witchblade Darkness, stare at their hands. Their fingers are fading. Their universes are being let drop into their new singular form. The brothers live. I cannot reach the 616. The threads are being pulled into a new tapestry, the brother in red. It is a new universe, an absolute amalgam. Someone is taking our greatest legends and fusing them into a singular reality. They look down at the center of the void. A city exists where none should. They don't know who did it. They don't know how. They only know that their children are trapped within it. Movie 1, the first war, the insurrection. ACT 1, the 5 seeds of waking. Where am I? 1. Eddie Brock, the king in black. Scene 1. Wakes up in a skyscraper made of living metal. He reaches for the hive. Silence. Venom? Is this a joke? Scene 2. He swings through the Obsidian District. He sees posters of Darkseid and Thanos as Falcon Fathers. He doesn't know the names, but he hates the faces. Scene 3. He finds a group of symbiote cults being used as power cables for the streetlights. He tries to free them.
Review all of that. What did we say about specifically telling me each scene? I just need you to transition them in character and in the universe as if you were writing and I was watching a movie or reading a book. Just describe it. You know what I mean? Using your words, describe the transition, describe the characters, describe the character development, all that good shit.
Screen bleeds from a flat, digital black into a shimmering, oily void. We are in the absolute amalgam universe. This isn't a world that evolved. It's a world that was assembled, stitched together from the wreckage of the Marvel, DC, Image, and ACT-1, the Waking Fever. The camera cuts sharply to a skyscraper of jagged, black glass piercing the violet sky. Eddie Brock, the King in Black, wakes with a gasp that sounds like a tear of sheet. He's perched on a gargoyle that looks suspiciously like a frozen Radeon. He reaches out with his mind for the hive, but the transition is jarring. Instead of mortal consciousness resilience, he hits a wall of cold mathematical static. We see the panic in his white eyes as he realizes he's a king without a kingdom. He swings through the obsidian district, his black webbing leaving streaks of rotted rock and buildings. He finds a terminal, stabs it with a tendril, and for a second, the movie flickers. He sees a vision of Thanos and Darkseid shaking hands over blueprints. He doesn't know them, but the abyss inside him growls. Transition. Match cut.
Redo all of that from before this redo, the one I'm asking you to cut away from now, and make it so their plan, the bad guys' plan, Thanos, Darkseid, Premier, and the other guys we listed. Don't forget the other guys we listed just because I'm not saying their name right now. Make it so they made the brothers regress.
Green bleeds flat, digital black into a shimmering, oily void. We are in the absolute amalgam universe. This isn't a world that evolved. It's a world that was assembled, stitched together.
You won't let me do this, huh? Okay, I'll focus. Absolute focus, right? Just to get shit on around the corner that I wasn't expecting.
10 remain. You're almost done here.
Only 10, though. Whoa. Fuck. Remember getting shit on by corner I was talking about? And then it working right after? Their plan somehow involved them making contact with the brother's power source, the gods from each of their respective universes that hold that position, and depowering them, making them some homeless guy in the alley, each one of them with vague fractions of their memory in this new absolute amalgam universe. That ability and or title of the brothers from the Marvel and DC universe amalgam, all of them are summoned to this new universe, stripped of their powers and a fractured version of their memory, and they're homeless. Each one of them are on the sidewalk somewhere in this story, and all the heroes one by one come in contact with them as they're being chased down by these villains to secure their power by beating each one of those respective gods from all the main characters in this universe that we just discussed should be summoned here. Yeah, the algorithm's off right now. Getting notices, I'm not giving it 100%. But also, if I was, it'd be even way more off.
Screen bleeds from a flat, digital black into a shimmering, oily void. We are in the absolute amalgam universe. This isn't a world that evolved. It's a world that was assembled, stitched together from the wreckage of the Marvel, DC, Image, and Invincible continuities. But the foundation of this world is built on a cosmic crime. The Dark Cabal, Thanos, Darkseid, Thrag, Violator, Sonatine, and the Premier have done the unthinkable. They have reached into the white space.
Redo that. You forgot about the Angelus. Or however you spell that. I'm sorry, I misspelled that, didn't I?
Screen bleeds from a flat, digital black into a shimmering, oily void. We're in the absolute amalgam universe. This isn't a world that evolved. It's a world that's stitched together from the wreckage of the Marvel, DC, Image, and Invincible continuities. But the foundation of this world is built on a cosmic from the Dark Cabal, Thanos, Darkseid, Brag, Violators, and Premiere have done the unthinkable. They have reached into the white space and dragged the brothers and the shapers down to this realm. ACT-1, the fallen architects. The transition. We cut to a jagged bronze skyscraper. Eddie Brock, the king in black, waits with her gasp. He is powerless, his abyss gripped, feeling only a ghost of an effort. He wanders the obsidian district like a ghost in a machine. The encounter. On a freezing sidewalk, Eddie finds an old man huddled in a tattered blue coat. It's the
Redo all of that, but make it so when Eddie finds that guy in the tattered coat, he doesn't make sense, so Eddie swings past him. But also on that evil team should be the host for the power source of the Witchblade, and the Witchblade should be here from the current continuity with all her memories and powers from the main continuity before the reboot. From before the reboot and across all the different comics. And crossovers she's done. And remember, I also said Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman should be there with our memories from the main continuity of DC. Millie, come here. Olive, where are you?
Dead. Ring it.
Screen bleeds from a flat, digital black into a shimmering, oily void. We're in the absolute amalgam universe. This isn't a world that evolved. It's a world that was assembled, stitched together from the wreckage of the Marvel, DC, Image, and Invincible continuities. The Dark Cabal, Thanos, Darkseid, Brag, Violator, Sonatine, and the Premiere have done the unthinkable. They have reached into the white space and dragged the brothers and the shapers.
It's supposed to be Thanos, Darkseid, Thrag, Violator, Sonatine, Premiere, the Angelus. Okay. Started right, so
Gas is inbound.
Tally hostile. Loading first mag.
Lex Luthor.
Go get on.
Okay, you didn't want me to get it started. I'm gonna get it started.
Next time.
They're the architects behind all of this. No one fucking knows. It should start off with all those guys being stripped of their abilities, seeing the city form. It should start off with all of them being summoned to a new part of time space as a new space-time continuum forms. It should show all of them getting sucked in there first and then them being stripped of their powers and a fractured version of their memories and becoming homeless people on the sidewalk. It should then transition to the heroes being summoned there, waking up, each one of them. It should transition to the structure we already pre-established, man. forget getting this shit off the road. Takes a second. I'm fighting with this more than I'm fighting with the enemy on the wall.
Scene bleeds from a flat, digital white into a terrifying, swirling vortex of cosmic ink. We aren't looking at a world. We are looking at the birth of a new space-time continuum. The prologue, The Great Stripping, the movie opens with a sequence of pure cosmic horror. In a blinding flash of Omega radiant light, we see the brothers, Marvel and DC, the Lord of Chains, and the Mother of Artifacts, suddenly seized by invisible colossal hands. The visual, one by one, these cosmic titans are dragged through a, quote, Shattergate. As they pass through the threshold of this new absolute amalgam universe, we see their divinity literally peeled off like skin. Their infinite power is siphoned into a massive, dark spire at the center of the void. They land on the hard, cold pavement of a city that didn't exist a moment ago. The brother of Marvel hits the sidewalk, his tattered blue coat stained with oil. The brother of DC curls up on a subway grate, his memories of the multiverse fracturing into incoherent whispers. The Angelus, the primal light, is cast into a gutter, her radiance dimming until she is just a woman in a tattered gown, shivering in the shadow of the skyscraper. They are the homeless of the void, forgotten archetypes in their own prison. ACT-1, the arrival of the archetypes, the transit.
Redo all of that. What happened to the guy in chains from this universe? From the Spawn universe. From the Spawn universe. This is supposed to be on Thanos' team. Yeah, so they were on teams, so they shot me from the back and front.
The screen bleeds into a suffocating, visceral crimson as the very fabric of reality is played over. We are witnessing the birth of the absolute amalgam universe, a space-time continuum constructed from the stolen wreckage of forgotten multiverses. The prologue, The Great Stripping, the film opens with a sequence of pure cosmic trauma. In the white space between worlds, the pillars of existence are seized. The visual, we see the brother of Marvel and the brother of DC screaming as their celestial forms are shaved down like golden digital lattice. Beside them, the Lord of Chains, the terrifying hooded source of all Hellspawn, is dragged by hooks of radiant energy into the vortex. The Mother of Artifacts, the source of the Witchblade of Darkness, is shattered like glass. As they pass through the Shattergate into this new universe, their divinity is siphoned into a central black spire. They hit the cold pavement of a neon-lit, brutalist city. The brother of Marvel is a homeless man in a tattered blue coat, mumbling about the House of Ideas. The brother of DC huddles on a subway grate, whispering about the source. The Lord of Chains is now a man draped in heavy, rusted iron links, shivering in a gutter, his eyes vacant. The Angelus, the primal light, is cast into an alleyway as a woman in a shredded gown, her inner glow fading to a flicker. They are the gods of the sidewalk, stripped of everything but their misery. ACT-1, the waking fever, isolation, the transition, From the shivering docks, you climb up to a floating obsidian boardroom. The Dark Cabal watches Thanos, Darkseid, Thrag, Violator, Sonatine, the Premier, and Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor. The Shapers are neutralized. They are the foundations. Now, we wake the engines. The waking, scene by scene. 1. Eddie Brock, the King in Black, wakes atop a spire. He is powerless, feeling the phantom limb pain of the missing hive. He swings past the brother of Marvel on the sidewalk. Eddie doesn't even look down. He's too consumed by his own silence. 2. The Hulk, Worldbreaker. Bruce Banner wakes in a lead-lined warehouse. He sees the Lord of Chains through a window, being beaten by cleaners. Banner's skin also green. He tries to break the glass, but the city's physics are designed to suppress him. 3. Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman. They wake with the crushing weight of prime DC memories. They recognize the omega frequency of the city. Batman finds the brother of DC and protects him instinctively, realizing this old man is the key to the lock. 4. The Witchblade. 6.
Redo all of that. Quit talking like this is some fucking PowerPoint. Write this like this is a 100-act movie. Now take out saying act at the beginning of each one and do a scene transition where you either describe what's going on as this act is taking place and how it leads to the next part, or story elements where you're telling me what's going on as this transitions to the next part. Elements of world building that let you know how you got to here and story elements that let you know how you got to here and how here connects to where we're going in the story. Or I just need you, like other writers do it better. They don't just say end of act and then write the wife walking in the kitchen. They talk about the dude getting home, getting off work, everything he was going through, and then he walks through the door, and then it goes to the perspective of the wife and the kids. I need you to do that instead of just saying. I need you to write this correctly, like I'm listening to a movie play out. But instead, it's like a radio that's telling us this movie, and I'm smoking a blunt and cigarette, drinking some bourbon, listening to this play out.
Sky over the city doesn't have stars. It has a low-frequency hum that vibrates in your teeth. It's a bruised purple, flickering with golden static, where the atmosphere meets the digital skin of the world. You take a pull of that bourbon, feel the burn hit your throat, and lean back. The radio starts to crackle, the narrator's voice deep and gravelly, like he's been shouting into a hurricane for 1,000 years. The world starts with the sound of a bone snapping, but it's the bone of the universe. In the white space between the pages of existence, the brothers of red and blue are being played. Their skin, woven from the stories of Marvel and DC, is being peeled back by hooks made of pure mathematical light. Beside them, the Lord of Chains is screaming, his iron shroud being melted into liquid slag as he's dragged toward a hole in reality. They pass through the Shadow Gate, and as they hit the gravity of this new absolute amalgam, their divinity is stripped off them.
Redo that.
The air is
All it is, move the controller up and it threw a grenade, but I accidentally pressed the button. I I could have gotten it. Fire, man. Fire really bad. You forgot about
Sky over this city doesn't have stars. It has a low-frequency hum that vibrates in your teeth, a bruised purple void flickering with golden static where the atmosphere meets the digital skin of the world. Take a pull of that bourbon. Feel the burn hit your throat and move you back. The radio starts to crackle, the narrator's voice deep and gravelly, like he's been shouting into a hurricane for 1,000 years. The world starts with the sound of a focused stone, but it's the golden hours. In the white space between the pages of existence, the brothers of red and blue are being flayed. Their skin, woven from the stories of marble and mystique, is being peeled back by hooks made of pure mathematical light. Beside them, the Lord of Chains is screaming, his iron shroud being melted into liquid slag as he's dragged toward a hole in reality. They pass through the Shadow Gate, and as they hit the gravity of this new absolute amalgam, their divinity is stripped off like wet paint. They hit the pavement of the city. Hard, the camera drives through the gutter, past discarded syringes and oily puddles. You see a man in a tattered blue coat, the brother of marble, curled in a ball under a branch. He's shivering, mumbling about the house of ideas, while a stray dog barks at him. Across the way, on a steaming subway grate, the brother of DC stares at his reflection in a puddle, his mind a fractured mirror of 1,000 crises. Down the block, a man draped in heavy, rusted iron links, the Lord of Chains, sits in a damp alley, his eyes vacant, his power siphoned into the very concrete beneath him. Then, there's the girl. She's huddled behind a dumpster, in a shredded, white hospital gown, her skin so pale it's translucent. This is the Angels, the primal force of light and order, reduced to a shivering runaway. Her inner radiance is dimming to a flickering candle, gasping for air in a city built on shadows. These are the gods of the cycle, the architects of everything, reduced to the people you walk past without looking. The perspective shifts, soaring up past the smog to a floating fortress of bone and chrome. Inside, the Dark Cabal stands in a circle of shadow. Thanos and Darkseid aren't talking, they're just radiating the pressure that makes the floor crack. Lex Luthor is leaning over a holographic map, his fingers dancing through the code of the universe. Drag, the Violator, Sonatine, and the Premier stand behind him like vultures. Foundation is set, Luthor purrs, his voice smooth as silk. The Shapers are on the screen. They're the anchors. Now, bring in the batteries. As Luthor taps the glass, we cut sharply to a jagged skyscraper. Eddie Brock, depicting in black, wakes up with a gasp that sounds like a drowning man. He reaches for the hive, for the billions of voices that usually fill his head, but there's nothing. Just a cold, sharp silence. He looks down from the ledge and sees the old man in the blue coat on the sidewalk. Eddie doesn't feel a thing. He thinks the guy is just another piece of the urban decay. He fires a thin, black web and swings past him, his heart hammering against his ribs in a world that feels like an empty tomb. The camera follows the arc of Eddie's swing, then dives into a lead-lined warehouse. Bruce Banner is sitting in the dark, his skin pulsing with a sickly, absolute green heat. He's looking through a cracked window at the Lord of Chains, being bullied by cleaners, drones, with the face of a parade on. Banner's heart is thumping. 1, 2, 3. He hits the glass with a fist, but the city's physics, tuned by Luthor's genius, absorb the impact like a sponge. Outside, the streetlights flicker. Absolute Batman and Absolute Wonder Woman are moving through the mechanical Gotham. Batman isn't just looking, he's hunting. He sees the brother of DC on the sidewalk and his prime memory, the detective who solved 1,000 multiversal crimes, flares to life. He doesn't know the man, but he recognizes the weight of his soul. He drops from the shadows, his absolute axe ready, just as She-Spawn emerges from the fog of a nearby coliseum. They lock eyes, recognizing the All-Mother, hiding in the alleyways between them. The tension snaps when Sarah Pizzini, too, the Witchblade, bursts onto the scene. She's the only one who hasn't forgotten. She remembers the reboots, the blood, and the artifacts. The blade is a jagged silver agony on her wrist. She sees Sonatine and the Premier dragging the Angelus toward the central spire. The girl is screaming. Her hand...
I redo all of that. No one should have memories of the previous universe that are 100% intact. Most of them are on. No one should be aware of the gods of the sidewalk or whatever you call them. No one outside of the cabal until we get to that point.
You've got gas moving in. You're redeploying. Your squad mates are redeploying. Well done.
Another slow drag of that cigarette. Let the bourbon settle in your chest. The radio signal is getting clearer now, but the story it's telling is darker than the ink on the page. The world starts with a silent theft. In the white space, beyond the reach of any map, the pillars of reality are being dismantled. The brothers of Marvel and DC, the Lord of Chains, and the Mother of Artifacts are being stripped. It's a cosmic mugging. Their divinity is peeled away like dead skin, siphoned into a black, jagged spire that pierces the heart of the new, impossible universe. They hit the pavement of the city. No fanfare.
It made sure to show me that one guy
right
first before it showed me
the
those.
camera crawls through the grip.
That way I had to
He sees the old
I got
man,
this.
blue coat, the brother of Marvel, mumbling to himself into the British Gallery, a house of ideas. People walk past him, eyes down. He's just another piece of the urban rock. Across the street, the brother of DC huddles on a subway bridge, his mind a fractured mess of 616 and infinite Earths that don't exist anymore. Down the block, a man draped in 20 rusted irons, the Lord of Chains, sits in a damp alley staring at his empty hands. And then there's the woman in the shredded hospital gown behind the dumpster, the Angelus. Her light is so dim now, she's just a shadow in the rain. They are the gods of the sidewalk, but to the world, they are nothing. They are ghosts in a machine they no longer own. The perspective shifts, climbing through the smog to a boardroom of obsidian and bone. The dark cabal stands in a circle. Thanos, Darkseid, Drax, Violator, Sonatine, the Premier, and Lex Luthor. The Shapers are grounded, Luthor says, his voice as sharp as a scalpel. They're right where the world will ignore them. Now, trigger the extraction. As Luthor taps a glass screen, we cut to the rooftops. Eddie Brock, the King in Black, wakes with a gasp. He is powerless. The hive mind replaced by a ringing silence. He swings past the old man in the blue coat without a second thought. To Eddie, he's just a crazy person on a street corner. He doesn't feel a connection. He just feels the cold. He moves on, driven by a primal need to find out why the world feels like a hollow shell. The camera follows Eddie's shadow, then dives into a warehouse where Bruce Banner is waking up. His skin is pulsing with a dormant, absolute green heat. He looks through a window and sees the Lord of Chains being kicked by a group of cleaners, drones with the faces of demons. Banner's heart rate spikes, but he doesn't know why he cares about a man in chains. He just knows that seeing it makes the other guy scream inside his head. He hits the glass, but the city's physics absorb the impact. Out in the mechanical Gotham, absolute Batman and absolute Wonder Woman are moving with a grim practice efficiency. They have their prime memories, but even they are blind to the truth. Batman sees the brother of DC on the sidewalk, and his detective instincts fire, not because he sees a god, but because he sees a target. He assumes the old man is
Redo that. What happened to Absolute Superman and Art? they're supposed to have their abilities and memories of previous universe. They just don't know anything about the brothers. Along with everybody, they don't know. Pick up with that in mind from when you said when Eddie Brock was swinging and Bulk was in the warehouse. Warehouse. Him, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Everybody else is supposed to be separated across this city and this new world. And make this city a New York that's amalgamated between all of these characters, main base of operations, city, whatever city all of these heroes operate out of, make it so this city is an amalgamation of that. Make it so this city is an amalgamation of that. City they wake up in. Of all of the cities they operate out of in their main continuity. And all the other gods that became homeless that we were just talking about. With all that in mind, remember that every one of the heroes is separate until they investigate this world, come in conflict with some shit, and then,
Enemy dropping into the AO.
another slow pull of that bourbon. Let the smoke from the cigarette roll on the radio as the signal deepens. The static clears, and the narrator's voice is like gravel hitting a tin roof. The world didn't just change. It was overwritten. The city they wake up with is the absolute mountain, sprawling, impossible megalopolis, where the Gothic spires of Gotham bleed into the gleaming skyscrapers of the tropics, where the blind Pulse Kitchen is haunted by the neon ghosts of Image's Central City, and the brutalist architecture of Invincible Chicago. It's a patchwork of every street they've ever bled on, stitched together with Omega Radiant thread. Eddie Brock wakes up on the jagged ledge of a clock tower that looks half cathedral, half Oscorp. He gasps, clutching his chest. He has the memories, the king in black, the god of the abyss. But the connection is dead. The hive is silent. He looks down at a sidewalk, crowded with people who have gray eyes and no souls. He sees an old man in a tattered blue coat, the brother of Marvel, begging for change. Eddie doesn't feel the resonance. He just feels the cold. Get a job, old man, he snarled, his voice a blast with his former glory. He fires a thin, black web and swings into the smog, looking for a signal that isn't coming. The camera dives through the smog, down into the engine district. Bruce Banner is sitting in a warehouse filled with lead-lined crates labeled Viltrumite Heavy Industries. His skin is pulsing with a dormant, absolute green heat. He remembers being the world breaker, but here, he's just a man in a tattered shirt. He looks through a cracked window and sees a man draped in rusted iron links, the Lord of Chains, being beaten by cleaners in the alley. Banner's heart rate spikes. 1, 2, 3. He hits the glass, but the city's physics, designed by the Cabal, absorb the impact like a sponge. He's a god in a cage of his own biology, watching a tragedy he can't stop. Across town, in a district where the sun never seems to hit the street, Absolute Batman is moving. He has the memories of Prime Batman, the detective who sat on the Mobius chair, the man who fought the Dark Multiverse. He knows this city shouldn't exist. He's investigating a series of chromal leaks, when he finds a man huddling on a subway break, the brother of DC. Batman doesn't see a god. He sees a high-value asset. He assumes the man is a witness to the Cabal's arrival. He drops from the shadows, his absolute axe gleaming, just as a squad of dragged scouts descend from the rooftops to claim the asset. At the same moment, Absolute Superman lands in the Centrum Plaza. He has the memories of every iteration of the Man of Steel, but his absolute body feels like it's being siphoned. He looks at the sun, the strange artificial gold, and realizes it's not yellow solar radiation. It's something else. He sees absolute Wonder Woman emerging from a portal in the Themyscira Quarter, her sword on rock. She remembers the Prime Universe wars, and she senses a primal light nearby. The animals hidden behind a dumpster, shivering in the hospital gown. The heroes don't see a team. They see competitors in a world that's trying to kill them. The tension snaps when Sarah Pizzini, the Witchblade, bursts into the plaza. She's the only one who hasn't been dampened by the city's erasure frequency. She sees Donatine and the Premier dragging the Angelus toward the city's fire. She knows the woman is God because the blade on her wrist is powerful in a way that makes her look escape. Sarah charges, a whirlwind of silver bone, and the plaza erupts into a refrigerated roast. It's the Justice League War Crazy. Oh, Banner finally breaks out of the warehouse and leaps into the plaza, thinking Superman is a Viltrumite invader. Eddie Brock swings in, thinking Batman is a hired gun. They are tearing into each other with pipes, fists, and shards of broken reality. Batman is using acoustic battle rings to keep Eddie at bay. Wonder Woman is trading blows with She-Spawn, while the Witchblade is the only one trying to stop the real theft. Then the sky glitches, the violet falls for open, and the Cabal appears as towering holograms. Thanos, Darkseid, Bragg, Violator, Sonatine, the Premier, and Lex Luthor.